right, welcome to EWJ's 2024-2025 session. This is our first episode with Gareth Yates. Thank you so much for joining us today, Gareth. And thank you so much for everybody who's here with us today. Before we begin, just a short note, kindly keep your mics switched off. You're going to get all the time to drop in your questions and interact with Gareth at the end of the session. But please feel free to ask any questions that you have. And now a little bit about our presenter. So Gareth Yates has been teaching English since 2024 and is currently working with ELA and an academy in Ubeda, a small town in south of Spain. With a background in writing screenplays for films and theaters, as well as several years of teaching Cambridge exams, Gareth is looking forward to sharing new ways of bringing his passion into classrooms in practical and engaging ways, such as through video games and different kind of other games and some fun speaking tasks. Thank you so much, Gareth, and the floor is all yours.
Fantastic. Okay, well, hello, everyone. As we said at the beginning, let us know where you're from on the chat. As I said, I am here in the south of Spain. I can see I've got another person from Spain there, a few from Tunisia, Algeria, fantastic. So lots of good people from a good mix of people. So welcome to today. This is the talk, Getting Off on the Right Foot, Using Warmers in the Classroom and Online. So just some information there. As you said, I do work in an academy. So all of what I have developed today is based on my experience teaching Cambridge exams, teenagers, and trying to get their attention in some new and different ways. You can see I've also put a link there to my Instagram, where I do share lots of different ideas, and some of the ideas that you see from today will be developed in the coming weeks. So do follow through on that. I'll share that again at the end of the talk. So very briefly, I just want to let you know what it is that we're going to see today. So to start with, I just want to kind of go through that word I've used, warmers. Just clear out what is that and why should we try and use them in our classes. Then it's going to be very practical. I'm going to give you lots of different examples of activities that you can take away and use with your students to practice different aspects, as I've said, revision, communicative, written, and ones with AI as well. And we'll end with some questions and ideas. But let's kick things off, shall we? Let's get straight into it. So I'm going to share with you an activity, which is also a nice icebreaker for us today. So here is a photograph of me. That is me in the middle there in that picture. And this is something you could do with your student as an icebreaker, but today we're going to do it together. And what I'd like you to do is to go onto your chat, and I'd like you to try and type me what you think I'm doing in this photograph. You can see some very strange things going on in there, but there are some clues to help you. Now, when you do this with students, it's good to give them some phrases like possibility, or you might be doing this, it's possible you are doing that, or anything you can be certain of. You must be what? I mean, maybe you must be feeling something. You could see my face there. You could maybe be certain about my feelings in this. Perhaps look at some of the clues. There are some good clues in there as to the time of the year. Look at the clothes that I'm wearing. There's a few things in the background that maybe give you a clue. But I'd like to see you type on the chat for me what you think might be happening in this photograph. And I've got the first one. Someone has said, you might be at a costume party, which is a great idea because I'm clearly wearing some kind of costume. Yes, that's a very good idea. Thank you. Let's just give you a moment to type something. So do put on the chat, what do you think might be happening in this photograph? And see if someone else, let's give them a second, and then I'll tell you the answer. Again, look at the clues, look at the clothes. What time, what season are we in? What time of the year are we in? And what maybe am I trying to do? Let's just see. Okay, so far, just that one idea. A very nice idea, though. Very good. At the costume party. Okay. Okay, well, I think I'll go through to the answer now and see if anyone else has an idea. I'll tell you afterwards. Oh, here come a couple. Riding a horse. Fantastic. Of course, that is a horse of some kind. Talking about cowboys. That's a great idea, isn't it? Ah, well, thank you very much. An actor rehearsing before a show. That is a very good idea. Yes, maybe I'm secretly a famous actor in Spain. And I'm fairly certain, thank you very much, using a phrase there, well done, it's the holiday season. You were absolutely right. It is December. Fantastic, you did get that. It must be winter. Yes, it is. Okay, here is the answer. So this photo was taken in December 2023. Very good for guessing that answer there. I was getting ready for my stag do, which, if you don't know, is a very popular tradition for a person to do before they get married. So I did get married this year in March, and so this was me having my party. And this is what I would do with the students. So I would now reveal some information about me. But what I'd ask them to then do is to form some questions that they can ask me to get yet more information. This is for practice. They get to practice their question forms, which are always difficult for students, and just gets them to do a bit of thinking. So can you ask me a question? Perhaps think of your question words, like what, why, where, how often. I don't know, can someone think of one question? At least one question. I'll be happy with one question. Type it on the chat. Can you ask me something more? And I'll give you this information. I promise I will tell you the truth as well. So this is your chance to find out something more about this situation. Let's see. Yeah, just why? Just the question word, why? Yes, indeed. It's a very good question. Why do we do this? We have a big party to sort of celebrate that this is our last days being a single person before we get married. But it's a good question. Why do we do it? Where does it come from? That could be good for more research. And did you enjoy the party? I absolutely did, yes. And what was your favorite part of the party? Well, I got to see all of my friends. I live in Spain. I did this in England. So I saw all the friends I don't normally get to see. And thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you very much. And in fact, I can tell you a little secret. Who's that woman in the background? Well, that there is my wife there in the background. So here are some questions that I put up. Okay, this is what the students might say. Where did you go for your party? They may ask you this question. And I would then respond to them. However, you could also get them to think of more conversation questions that they can do together. So, do you have this tradition in your country? Perhaps the students could have a discussion. And if you've got advanced level students, you could take this even further and get them to start debating and developing a longer answer. Or what are the positives and negatives to these types of parties? There are some people who say that they're a bad thing because people can be a little bit crazy when they have these parties. So we form some questions or we provide them to the students and we get a little discussion going on. Now, I've used this with my own photos, as I said, as a get-to-know-you activity. The students get to learn about me. However, you can also ask the students to do this, and it depends on your setup. For example, in my academy, there are some students who will have their own mobile phones. They'll be able to go on their phone and find a photograph. They can then work together. They can show their photograph to their partner. They can speculate using those phrases. They can then ask more questions and have a little discussion, a nice way to sort of break the ice. However, if you don't have access, you could sort of set this in the first class as a little homework. The students go home and they're going to upload some photographs to somewhere online. I've used Padlet. I put the link down there at padlet.com. If you've used this before, maybe some of you have used this before. Let me know in the chat if you know what this is. You share a link with them, and when they get that link, they get a little plus button, they click on add, and then they can upload their photograph. And what's great is it then creates a little slideshow. So you can actually go through, this is the photo you've just seen. Here's another one, something very unusual is happening here. I won't ask you to guess, we're actually throwing axes. You know, you can throw darts. Well, now you can throw axes as well. It's a very crazy activity. But what you can do with this is you don't have to do this all at once. This can be over the next few weeks or even the first month of term, that each class, you put a picture up from this. Everyone has to guess, and the person whose photo it is then going to reveal. We'll ask them some more questions, and there we go. We've got a nice little ice-breaking activity, which will go on over the first couple of weeks. Yes, it's changed that slide now. But however, you may decide that, you know what, I don't want this to be an icebreaker. I just want to use this in my class time, but I'm going to need some good photographs, something interesting and unusual to share with the students. And this is where I use this. This is from the New York Times. If you have got your phones there, there's the QR, or there is a tiny URL you can copy there. And this is a fantastic site where every week they will put up a new unusual photograph in term time. You can see the last one was May 20th, 2024, and it's an unusual photograph. The students do the same. They have to guess what it is, and then it does give you the answer as well. It tells you what is going on. And if you've got a particular topic, let's say you're talking about animals today in your class, well, this could be a great lead in as well to that activity, as well as just some general practice of those phrases for speculation and certainty. So this was a warmer. This was a warmer. I've used it today as a nice warmer for our talk. You can use it in your classes. Why did I do this? Why didn't I just start in a different way? Why have I shown you this picture and done this sort of activity for you guys? Type me any ideas on the chat. There are some clues there. You've got this sort of teacher waving. That's kind of a clue as to why you might use these activities. And then you've got those three students with their faces down, looking a bit like this. So I got someone who said, as an introduction, absolutely, yeah. You want to, something as they walk in the door, perhaps to introduce the topic of the day. Engagement, absolutely, that's a fantastic word to use there. You want to get their attention in some way, and it was a photograph about me, a personal photograph. It can get them engaged and motivated. We have here to take the learner's attention. Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. A lot of you using that word to engage the students, and that's absolutely right. A lot of students, I'm just talking about some of my students I've had, but sometimes they come in, particularly after the summer break. Maybe they're excited to be there. Maybe they wish they were still on their holidays in Spain, down by the beach, and they need something to get them back into the school academic year. So here are some ideas that I come up with. So first of all, what is a warmer? Well, a warmer should be a short and simple activity. Short because you don't want it to take all of your class, and simple, especially because you're going to do this at the beginning. And if students come in late and you've spent 5 minutes explaining an activity, you have to explain it again. So something that can be explained even visually. You don't even have to say anything, just a picture and a question, boom, they know what to do. Warmers can be dynamic, so there's some activity, some running around, or they're communicative, and it could recycle some of the language that you've been studying. It could be isolated, as in it's just one thing we do for a bit of fun at the beginning, or we can use it to set up a topic, and that's exactly what someone has said on the chat. Absolutely, yes. Between 3 to 5 minutes, you're absolutely right. To make fun as well. Like, the whole point of this is that it's not too difficult, it's not too easy, it's engaging and fun, and even surprising, unusual, different. That's going to get their interest. Okay, so I'm now going to kind of go through, as I said, to some different activities, and I will require a little bit of typing on the chat to participate as well. Not too much, just a little bit. Okay, so my first activity, these are all for revision. So perhaps you're revising some vocabulary that you have taught. And this can also be good for ice breaking. So you give the students a close-up photograph. For example, this photograph right here. And this is personal to me. This is my photograph, and I have made it much closer. What I'd like you to do is to type for me on the chat, what is this? It might be a what. It must be if you're certain. It can't be if you're certain it's not. And we've got someone guessing it's a dog. They're very certain there. They've said it's a dog. No speculation there at all. Fantastic. It's got legs here. We can see that. Some people think it's a cat. Some people think, I'm sure that it's your doggy, using a good phrase there, I'm sure. A polar bear. That's fantastic. And maybe I've been somewhere and I have interacted with polar bears and I've taken this photograph for you. Great ideas. Here is the answer. It's my cat. In fact, it's my mum's cat. It lives in England. There it is, enjoying the sun in England. Now, this could be some vocabulary, as I said, that you've studied, or something personal to you. And they're really easy to make. To do this, I just went onto Microsoft Paint. I opened the picture and I just cropped where you can see the little squares. I just made it a smaller photograph. It wasn't zoomed in at all, just smaller photograph. And you can then zoom in ever so slightly and save it, and you've got yourself a picture. So use this with vocabulary, but also perhaps first few classes, show some pictures of things connected to you, your cat, important items that say something about you, zoomed in close, the students guess what they are, and perhaps when you show them the answer, how that's connected to you, and ask you some information about it. As I said, again, maybe you just want to do this as a fun activity, not related to any vocab you've studied. You want something ready-made to go for your class, in which case go online. I've chosen here a YouTube channel that I use a lot. This is Quiz, I think it's quiz.com, the channel, and loads of videos are on there. For example, this one, which is Guess the Animal. I'll just show you a very quick snippet. Turn the volume down ever so slightly. Okay, so it just comes up. Guess the animal. For example, okay, you get a picture like this, and I would encourage the students to talk to each other, to speculate about what it might be, and then exactly, someone said it already, the answer pops up, and it's a tiger. And they've got several of these things with different topics as well. So maybe there's something there related to what you're doing, or it's just some quick way to get their attention and start the class. The other thing that you can do for revision is an emoji quiz. In this case, you're going to give them some emojis, and they have to guess what the picture represents. And the first letter of each one then spells out a word. And particularly if you're doing this with young learners or weaker students, you want to give them a little framework. So, for example, I think the first emoji is a what? Can anyone tell me? What is that first emoji? I think that first one's nice and simple. What's my first thing we're looking at there in that emoji? Of course, the second. So the students would be saying, well, I think the second emoji is, and you have to guess, what is the second emoji? Oh, someone's just gone through the whole thing. Look at that, fantastic. Yes, the next is a monkey. And then, as we have said on the chat, look, we've got an orange. Now, we said here the next picture is a pumpkin. Well, that's a very good guess, but it's not actually the word I chose. This is a word often used in American English at Halloween. Does anyone know what you call that thing at Halloween when it's got a face in it? It's not a pumpkin, it's got a different word. Does anyone know what that is? Do you not guess? It's a jack-o'-lantern. This is when you've got the face and the candle inside. And the last one someone has guessed is ice. So we look at the first letter, and what word have I spelt out there with my emojis? The students would then say together, well, I think the word is, and what we've got letter E, letter M, and we get emoji. Of course, we're doing emojis today, so the word spells emoji. So this can be great for revising some recently learned vocabulary. If you want to make it, emojipedia.org is the site that I used. There are other ones available, and you can just search for an item, for example, cat, and it will give you an emoji which you can copy into any presentation that you are doing. So they are very quick to make. So that's emojipedia.org. However, okay, we are looking at some icebreakers as well today. You could perhaps give some questions, and these questions relate to you. For example, what's your favorite animal, teacher? Where are you from, teacher? What sports do you practice? And you give them the emojis that have the answer, and they've got to do the same thing and guess what they see. So I'm just going to show you through these ones. The first is a turtle. We then got some ice. We saw that in the last one as well. I've reused my emojis. We've got some grapes. Reused the elephant. And the last one is my rock. What word have I spelt? This is, you then ask your students, what is the animal then, guys? And we can see it's a tiger. And what's great about this is sort of a model. Afterwards, you ask your students to do the same. You say, right, I want you to draw me some emojis on paper that will spell out the word. You may need to give them a little bit of support. Perhaps you could go through some typical emojis that could be used for the letters of the alphabet if they need a little bit of support to get those ideas. And then they come together. They show their partner, their pictures, and they do exactly the same to learn a little bit more about them. So this would be a very good icebreaker for young learners. Okay, but again, if you don't want to make your own, go online. There are many websites. I've used here bamboozle.com, which is also a fantastic resource if you haven't used it. Lots of free, well, there is one main free game. You do have to pay for the others, but there are some that are free. And again, it comes up with things like this. So this is a movie. What movie is this? I don't know if you can see very clearly. We've got a guy in a boat. We've got a ball of some kind and a desert island. And all these emojis create some sort of movie. Can anyone guess what that movie might be? Does anyone know? Can maybe give you some clues. It stars Tom Hanks as the main character, and he gets lost on a desert island. The answer is Castaway. Yes, the English title is Castaway. Very good guess there. Robinson Crusoe would be almost very similar. It's Castaway. Fantastic. And then what's great about this site is, as I said, it's very gamified. So this was an example of bowling. The students do it in teams, and then they get to bowl the ball, and they get some points. So this would be very jazzy, very exciting for them to do. So do check out that website. It's a really good one to use. Okay, so the next topic is communicative warmers. So we want to get the students talking in some way. And I've got this one here. How many ways can you? Again, please, I would like some ideas that go with this one. So you give the students a question. How many ways can you, in this case, a summer one that I did on my Instagram, protect your sand castle? The students then have to use suggestion phrases. So this is very good to use at a B1 level when they're learning these kind of phrases, or more advanced phrases as you go up the levels. And they have to suggest. I've got some examples there. How could you protect your sandcastle? Well, how about digging a big hole around your sandcastle? So now nobody on the beach can come and destroy your sandcastle. Okay, so we give the students some phrases that they can use. Always important to give them some language, and they have to talk together. And we do emphasize the crazier, the better. There's no kind of right or wrong except for using the grammar, but the ideas themselves, we're just encouraging creativity, more ideas that you can come up with. I've got someone there who says you should use protective walls. Yes, that's right. Maybe you could build up a wall around your castle so that no one is going to destroy it. That would be a very good idea. Any other ideas, please type them on the chat. I'd love to see what you think about how you could protect your sandcastle in the summer on the beach. As you're typing that, I will just tell you, this idea I did get from the author Nick Peachy, but I've worked with it quite a lot, and I come up with lots of new ideas. So, for example, protect your sandcastle. I did a Christmas one. Build a snowman, but without snow. They had to get a bit creative there to think of what items they could use to build a snowman. But take it up the levels as well. A B2, a C1 level class. How could you get someone to break up with you? How could you be a very bad boyfriend or girlfriend, husband or wife, and do something terrible that will make them leave you? And then a follow-up class, you could do apologize to someone and get them to come back with you. So you can do lots of situations as well, getting a bit creative. And of course, it can be related to the topic that you're going to do in the class. If it's related to the summer, to winter, to relationships. Okay, and someone else on the chat has said, don't let people come any closer. Exactly. Like I said, you could shoot people with water guns. Could be a good idea as well. Okay, well, let's move to the next idea. And this is going to require you at home to be a little bit more creative. This is called connections. Basically, what I do is I will choose an article, something weird, something unusual, perhaps surprising, and you give them two photographs that are in some way connected to this article. And you would then present some phrases. So, for example, like we saw before, there's a chance that if you're possibility, without a shadow of a doubt, there's certainty, and you ask the students to come up with some ideas. Once again, I would say that I did get this idea from a teacher who teaches quite near to me in Spain. But again, I've done this with many different articles, and here is my favorite one. So the first picture, I'm sure we all can see. What is that top picture? What can we see there at the very top? Yes, well, we've got someone has guessed about the man at the bottom with the hat. That is indeed, that's right. We've got Indiana Jones is there at the bottom, and we've got a toilet. So in some way, Indiana Jones and a toilet appear in the same article, and we've got to try and guess, well, what's it about? What could this article talk about? Indiana Jones and a toilet. And we get the students to go off and think of some good ideas. So I'd be very interested to see if anyone could have a guess on the chat. What could this article be about? Indiana Jones and a toilet in some way. And to give you a moment just to think. Okay, someone has said that's where snakes can be found. Yes, that's right. If we know Indiana Jones, he does not like snakes. So maybe you can find snakes in a toilet. Maybe that could be the article. Someone found some snakes in a toilet. That's a very good idea indeed. Okay. Well, I'll go for the reveal. I'll go through any other ideas as they come up, but this is the connection. So there's two things I've got here. The first is an article on this side. The iconic Indiana Jones sound effect revealed to have been made by a toilet. And there is also a video I found on YouTube where they show you what's called a Foley artist making the sound effects for the film. I'll just show you very quickly the snippet there.
As I was making sounds for the end, I wanted something for them opening the lid of the Ark of the Covenant, and on the actual prop ark was just plastic. It didn't, as most props are not recordable really and used in the final movie. I wanted something that was solid. So I was sitting there one day thinking, and I came up with this sound, which was right at hand, which was my toilet tank bowl cover. Okay, and this is the actual one. This is what was used for the ark being opened in the film. So I've saved it all these years. The toilet has long since fallen apart. But in any event, it's a little blasphemous to admit this, but this is the lid of the Ark of the Covenant.
So you can show this to your students. So this could be a warm-up. It could be related to the topic you're doing. If you're talking about films, this could be a great way to lead into that. And you can use the video perhaps as a comprehension task. They can read the article. You could take the article and use it, take out some words and make it into a kind of use of English type task. You could even turn it into a project and ask the students to think of some common sounds. For example, someone walking over snow. And they've got to try and think, how would I make the sound of someone walking over snow? And absolutely, you can get them to make the sounds as well. It could be a very nice little project to lead into a topic about films. Again, the links are there. You can scan those and you can see that in a bit more detail as well. Okay, so the next section is written warmers. So in this case, it's just something where the students will have to write a little something on paper. And the first one is what I've called Cards Against the Classroom. This is based on a game. I don't know if any of you have heard of Cards Against Humanity. It's not an appropriate game for a classroom, so I've made a classroom version. In this case, you give the students some sentence stems, perhaps if they've got the grammar or vocab we've been studying recently. If it's your first few classes, you could use any of the sort of main grammar from the previous level. So if they're coming in for a B2 class, you could get the main B1 level grammar, and they have to make some sentences. And it can be a really good way just to check what they can remember of what they've done before. And basically, we get the students together in a team, and they've got to complete that stem with the most unusual or funniest answer. And that when they share them, the funniest or strangest is going to be the winner, and they're going to get a point. And we do it several times, see who is the winner. So the sentence is, if the internet goes down, I what? And they have to complete it in a funny, amusing way. I'd like you to type on the chat your funny or amusing way to finish that stem. And while you're typing on the chat, I'll just explain that link there. It's from another resource I use, wordwall.net. It's very good for displaying information like this, making it a bit more gamified. And there are some games available ready-made as well. So it's something good to check out. And in my classroom, I would probably get the students to write this on a small whiteboard, and then we'd all share them together and we'd vote on which was the best one of the class. So let's see, has anyone got something here? Okay, if the internet goes down, I will probably step out. Yes, it's probably a good thing, isn't it? We probably want the internet to go down so we can go outside and do some exercise. I'll have to play board games with my family. Yes, fantastic. That's a really good answer as well. Yes, precisely. Okay, now like she said, have to. I'll have to play. Maybe she doesn't want to play. Perhaps that's what we can interpret from that answer. Oh, I'll have to play board games with my family. That would be a very good answer. Fantastic. Okay, so if you've got any more answers, do put them on there. I will end up reading a book. Fantastic. Exactly. Again, probably healthy, isn't it? We should maybe have the internet go down more often. Fantastic. Okay, so I'll move on. But this is a very good activity to do. I will save time. Absolutely. How much time do we waste every day? I'll go out for a walk. Fantastic. Brilliant ideas. Yeah, this could even lead us into a bit of a debate about healthiness and the internet. Fantastic. Thank you. A very similar activity, using sentence stems again, is creating memes. For this, you're going to need an unusual picture of some kind. For this, I've got a very old article. You can see this is from 2014, but it still has some fantastically unusual pictures, such as the one you can see here. If you look closely, it's very strange. There's a guy with a sewing kit and a van. It's very unusual. There's some police behind him. And basically, we get the students to write a sentence about the picture so that it's funny or unusual. Perhaps you could give them some examples of memes beforehand, just so they get the idea. But I'm sure they're fairly familiar with memes, as all the young kids are generally looking at these quite often. Again, give them some stems. So in this case, with some grammar, perhaps this could be a B2 C1 level grammar, using I wish and if only for past regrets. So, if only I'd something, I wouldn't have crashed my van, perhaps could be an answer. Or I know I should have listened to my mum. I don't know, maybe that could be a sentence. It's not a very good sentence. I'm sure you can do much better than I've thought of. I wish I hadn't gone to the prom. I don't know. I should have left my sewing machine at home. Yes, exactly. Maybe that was the cause of all of this weirdness, is that he took a sewing machine with him. Very unusual picture to have. Exactly. I'll give one last look. I wish I hadn't gone to that party. Again, it could be coming back to my stag do, an unusual party that went a bit crazy and ended with a sewing machine, some police, and a crashed van. That could be a very good idea as well. Okay, well, I will move on to the next side. The final thing, this is the final main thing that I want to talk about with you today, is using AI. I'm sure a lot of us are starting to integrate AI into our classes, but if not, perhaps this could be a good place to start. So my first thing is called Odd One Out. Basically, I'm going to use ChatGPT to create some odd one out questions. And the students, again, at the beginning of the class, they have to come together and they look at them and they have to say which one of these things is different and why is it different. So the first is this: Mercury, Venus, Earth, or Mars. One of these planets is different to the others. Which one and why? Can you think? Can you say something on the chat? Let's see, someone's gone straight away and said letter C, Earth. Why? Why is it different? Life and water, fantastic. Yes, there's life on Earth, precisely. These are all very valid answers. Earth, water, fantastic. Okay, well, to get to this point, this is what I told ChatGPT. It's always good to start by telling it its role. So in this case, I told it was a quiz show researcher. I then asked it to make 10 of these odd one out questions, and I've explained a little bit to ChatGPT what exactly that is. So I said, okay, each one should have 4 people, places, or things, or a combination of the 3, but one of them is different for a reason. I've added a topic. I would like topical events, geography, history, or science. And I've also asked it to give me an answer key with a description of why one is different. So it types into ChatGPT and you'll get something that looks like this. And the answer was letter C. But not because of life and water, those are very good guesses, but because the others are named after Roman gods. But Earth is not a Roman god. Very interesting. Again, the students could do this as a competition. They could have it on that bamboozle side that I showed you before. You could display them and then the answer comes up. They could have it on mini whiteboards which they hold up and they get points. Or just together in pairs using the speculation language. Now, what ChatGPT is fantastic for is personalizing your class. So I've done it again, but this time, as you can see in the bold, I've changed it to include a topic that my students are interested in. So the topic must be about pop singers from 2023 to 2024. So it could be really useful at the beginning of term just to go around what are the different interests of the students, and then you can create tailored classes to their interests. So here's another example. If you know these people, we've got Bruno Mars, Justin Timberlake, Harry Styles, and Mariah Carey. Which one is different and why are they different? It depends if you know who these singers are. Fairly famous singers. Can anyone guess which one of those is different? Very good, yes. Mariah Carey sings at Christmas. She's very famous for singing at Christmas time. Maybe the others are not famous for Christmas songs. Let's see, the answer was indeed her. And what could be really good to do is don't give them the answer yet, okay? They're going to say D. I think it's D. Why? The answer is D. Why is it D? And maybe they can think of different possible reasons. For example, one sings at Christmas. We can see that obviously Bruno, Justin, and Harry, thank you very much. Someone's put that on the chat, are female. Fantastic. So maybe that's the difference. She's female, they're male. Sorry. The answer was this. You've all got correct answers, but this is another one of those many correct answers that she's the odd one out because she's known for her career in the 1990s and early noughties when she really became famous, and the others became famous a bit later in the noughties and 2010s, according to ChatGPT. I haven't fact-checked this, so we'll have to fact-check this, but this is according to ChatGPT what the answer is. And perhaps this might be difficult for some students. They might be a bit hesitant to talk about this, so give them the answer, the reason. Withhold the actual answer. So, for example, we do another one. Okay, this time we've got some more singers. We've got Miley Cyrus, Bad Bunny, Sam Smith, and Ariana Grande. Which one is the odd one out? Because he or she primarily sings in Spanish, while the others primarily sing in English. Okay, this makes it slightly easier for them to get that answer. Which one do we think it is? Any guesses on that chat? Okay, well, first person has guessed. We've got someone who's guessed Bad Bunny could be the answer. Do you know why? Why we know is the already on there? So we've got one who says Bad Bunny. And they are right. They are indeed right. Bad Bunny is more Spanish. Exactly. Latino sings in Spanish anyway. And the others sing in English. Okay, well, I've just got one more thing to show you using ChatGPT and making quizzes, but particularly focused on vocab and grammar that you've been studying and the interests of your students. So, for example, I've got a sentence here. A glass slipper was left behind by a young girl after a magical night at the ball. What is the answer? These are all Disney films, by the way, just to let you know. I haven't shown you that part yet, but I told ChatGPT these are all Disney films. Which Disney film character is this? Yes, indeed, we've got Cinderella is the answer. There's a little picture that isn't actually Cinderella. That's the best picture I found for a representation of Cinderella down there. And this is what I've told ChatGPT. Again, I've given it a role. Really important to give it a role first. So you are a teacher. Make me a guess the Disney film quiz. I've then explained a bit more what I'd like it to have. So write 10 sentences that describe a different Disney film. Each sentence should use past, simple, passive. And I've also told it use language of an intermediate level. So if you didn't know, you can't use B1, B2, C1 with ChatGPT. It doesn't understand that language, but it does understand beginner, intermediate, advanced. And you can also, there's a space there where I've then later remembered, oh, yes, I need answers. I had to type again. Thank you. Now, please provide an answer key because I didn't ask it for one, so it didn't give me one. So do remember to ask it for that or you will be left without. And yes, some people are saying ChatGPT is amazing. It is absolutely amazing what it can do. These are just some ideas that I've had. And of course, you can extend this, okay? You could get the students to go through and identify that target structure. So where is that past, simple, passive? And then they could keep the same topic, Disney films, or they could change the topic, something more personal to them, and they prepare more sentences as a quiz using the target grammar. So instead of just writing pointless sentences, and not pointless, but they're practicing, but this gives it a purpose to write those sentences, and you get to do a quiz with it. So then I would, at the end, mix the pairs up, or perhaps do it again as an open class quiz. The students are now the teacher asking to the class to do together. So that's pretty much the main, I think I pretty much hit the time that I did. Just to kind of give you a recap of what we've been through today, especially if you've come in a little bit late. Basically, in this talk today, we did look at what warmers are, and we've sort of said how they can be useful to motivate our students and to encourage them to speak and whatever. We have seen a variety of different types of warmers focused on different skills. Okay, some were more just communicative, a lot about speculation that we've used, practicing different grammar or vocabulary. We've touched on, this was a brief touch on how to use AI. I've shown you a little bit about what you need to type to get those answers. And hopefully you've got something new in there that could make your classes, especially your first classes, a little bit more exciting. And fantastic, yeah, that's a great idea. Please use emojis to share how you feel about the webinar. Absolutely. Let's get those. Go to emojipedia.org. And that's basically the slides. So I think now we have some time for any questions. I've left up there my Instagram. I'm going to be over the next few weeks putting up some of these things with lesson plans, which is all free. So do come on and you'll get that information that's there as well.
Thank you so much, Gareth. This was very, very interesting. Thank you very much. And I can see how active everybody was and how much they enjoyed interacting with you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone who was typing on the chat. Lots of people were typing some ideas away there, so thank you very much for participating.
Sama, he has shared his Instagram link.
Yeah, I am just it's up on there. If you search for Gareth Stephen Yates,
there, you can. And Sama says great activities can be used in different times in classes. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Please feel free to ask Gareth any questions that you might have.
I think that's a really good point that they've just said there. Use at different times. Some of these could be more, they've been doing a difficult activity. You want a change of pace, something to inject a bit of energy. Yeah, you can put something like this in, gives them something different to do, maybe changing the topic, etc. So that's a really good point.
Absolutely. Well, Zara Yazdi says, would you please share the record of the class and presentation slides? Zara, these will be uploaded on the EWJ website, and you'll be able to see there. Sorry.
All right, so we will be sharing this. Thank you, Ocean. Thank you, Gareth. It was amazing. I learned so much today that I never knew. Although I think I'm up on the game, but I don't think so I am yet.
Yeah, fantastic.
Especially using ChatGPT, really, I also encourage my students to use it constructively in a better way. So it is a good thing for our teachers to learn something new about it. We really appreciate that. And yes, the recording will be uploaded in next 24 hours on our YouTube channel. Those attendees who attended today will receive a link soon with their certificates where they can go back and refresh their memories about it. We have another 2 minutes or so. If you want to ask any questions, you can open your mic now and communicate with Gareth directly.
The link has been shared in the chat box. In case you're wondering where, you can fill in the link to receive your certificates.
Fantastic, guys. Well, yeah, ask away. If there's any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
All right, this is your best option. Try it now.
Well, thank you very much. I'm getting a lot of people saying thank you on the chat. So just to say thank you very much. I'm glad that's been useful. As I did say there, a lot of this is on my Instagram. Some of these ideas, not all of them, are already on there. Some of them, like especially the AI ones, I'm going to be, over the next few weeks, putting them up there with the full resource. So you get all of the stuff that I've been talking about today. And maybe I'll keep doing more. That's what I tend to do. So do come and check it out.
So we'll be sharing Gareth's Instagram details with your certificates as well in the email. So in case you're unable to find it or unable to scan it now, we will be sharing all these soon with you. So you receive your certificates in the next 5 to 7 business days. So keep an eye on your inbox. You'll be receiving that soon. Please don't forget to fill in the link in your chat box.
We have Zara asking, which app or site do you use for your slides?
So I was using Canva. Canva, I use it all the time now. I use it for my Instagram. I use it for my presentations. Yeah, that's it. It's fantastic. You can do the paid subscription. I currently don't. It's all the free version at the minute. But there's even more things. If you are making more and more content, you can get even more access.
That's amazing, Gareth. Thank you so much. We can't even thank you enough. On a Saturday, an off day, you made an effort to come in on a platform, and you can see how excited and happy our attendees are, and they learned a lot with you. They're all thanking you. It's really helpful to have you over today. Thank you so much.
That's quite fun. That's quite fun.
And we have our next upcoming webinar on the 21st of September. If the attendees continue to follow us or subscribe to our website, you will be receiving updates. And if you don't receive our emails, please do check your spam box. So sometimes they do end up there. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much, Ms. Ocean Danish, for moderating this session today. And once again, thank you to all the attendees and, of course, Gareth to join us today. Bye.
Thank you very much as well. Been great hosts. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. Bye.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Okay,
day.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.